Good afternoon, welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It is Wednesday the 12th of June. It's 4 minutes past 1. 3 minutes past 1. Ned. Isn't it, Ned? Hope you're all well this afternoon. How are you, Ned?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
Just great. Just great.
Just great.
I am great.
Oh, God, that's good. That's what I wanted.
Well. I said Kravishkalaklia fine first time before, so I'm great.
Karatskevilia. And now he's turned into Borat for some reason. I don't know why, but he has turned into Borat. Jarrad Branthwaite, there's a little story about him today, saying Manchester United are reluctant to pay what Everton want for Jarrad Branthwaite. Okay. Off you pop then. Cheerio. That's what I would say. We've got a player, we've got a valuation we want for him. If you don't meet him, do you want? We wanted Wilfred Nonso for £8 last year and Leeds wouldn't give me.
Like, who do you think you are? And who do you think we are? We're not just some we're not going, please don't buy him, we need to sell him. No, nay. Schnee. Get lost. We don't need to sell Branthwaite because we're going to sell Onana instead. No,
we might need to sell Branthwaite.
Yeah, we want to be in a position where, okay, right, I'm never against selling a big asset as long as you've got the model of sell high and buy low. But if we're in a position where we can sell other players and bring in other players that suit the model and keep all the Branthwaite for the end of the year, then yeah, maybe they do prefer to sell Branthwaite and they've got ideas of what they want to do with the money. But it doesn't mean they're going to sell him for a lot less than he's valued if no one will pay it, just so they can go and get one or two players on the list. No, you need to stay strong. Otherwise, if you sell Branthwaite for 50 million, then the next one, people are going to offer low again. You don't want to set that precedent that you're willing to let players go for a lot less than what they're valued for. And we've done that with Richarlison because we were up against the wall. I don't think we're up against the wall as much as we were with Richarlison when we had to sell him.
Well, of course, there is a caveat here.
Yeah.
That Ben Godfrey has rejected a new contract at Everton.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story today, which is quite a big one, really. If Everton can get him out the door then in the next couple of weeks, I don't know, I think Everton should be looking really for 10 to 15 million pounds for him.
Yeah.
Really. Might be slightly optimistic, but he done well when he come in. It depends who wants him. A lot of interest in Italy, I believe, but they pay that kind of money. Well, they might do on the drip, and it doesn't matter about the drip because it'll go on Everton's books as £10 million if they could get 10, 12 million quid, even if it's over a few years for him, and get him out the door. We don't want people who don't want to be here. Get rid of them if he doesn't want to be here. And listen, for Ben, fair play to him. I'm not saying, he's letting the club down. He's a lad who's at a good age now in his career. He needs to be playing football.
Yeah.
He's not getting in. Especially if Everton do end up keeping Jarrad Branthwaite. He's not getting in Everton's team, is he, over Jarrad Branthwaite? So, and if he wants to be a centre-back, and again, I'm not convinced right now. I've seen enough to say he's definitely a centre-back. If that's what he wants, he needs to get a move and put some roots down. We've already seen with people like Mason Holgate, with the career just stalls. We saw it. We've seen it with other players. So for Ben, am I keeping you off here, by the way?
Why?
Just yawning your head off.
It was only a little tiny yawn. Subtle one.
It wasn't subtle. You were looking right at me.
Mm.
So therefore, yeah, if we can get some interest up in Ben, get him gone. That's what I say.
I think he'll always be a sellable asset, and he always had potential to be a first-team player at a good level because of his attributes that he's got. He's got pace, he's got power, and he's a decent defender. I don't think he's quite good enough or smart to play midfield, in my opinion, which is probably why he got moved back to centre-half. But then again, you have to be pretty smart there as well. But in terms of being on the ball, I don't know if he's comfortable enough to play on the half turn, to play in midfield. Fullback.
That's where he was, though. If you look at his career, that's where he played the majority of his games.
Yeah, but at Norwich, Baz.
He was at York.
Branthwaite played in midfield as a kid. And I can't imagine playing midfield.
Ben Godfrey played for York and Shrewsbury as a defensive midfield player. That was his career in football.
He hasn't played there in the Premier League, though.
No one's tried him, I'm just saying.
I just don't think I don't think maybe there's a place for him to play in the first team at Everton. If there is, it has to be at right back, but I'm sure Everton want better at right back, someone who's a bit more attacking. But he's a reliable player.
Do Everton want someone who's a bit more attacking?
I do, yeah.
We do, but I'm not convinced the manager wants someone who's a bit more attacking.
Yeah, he's a decent player. But the only thing is he's got a year left, so I can't imagine you can get a huge amount of money for him. But we got 20 million for Iwobi. He got a year left, so yeah, I'd be looking to get money for him. The only thing is, because he's versatile, you're losing quite a bit of backup in the squad with that. So, but if you replace him, then fair enough.
That's it, isn't it? That if he's not going to sign a new contract, then now you've got to manage his exit out the door. Drum it up. Hopefully, there'll be 2 or 3 clubs who look at him and go, see, if I'm another club in the Premier League, then I'm thinking, 15, even 20 million for him. He's only 26 and he can play 3 different positions. But it just depends. It depends if clubs in Italy genuinely do want him, and then what kind of deal they see fit. But Everton should be looking for 15 million easily.
Well, how much did he cost? 20, 25?
20 million he cost.
See, you let him go, and that's another player who's out the. You let him go in a year's time, it's another player out the door who's cost at least 20 million, leaves for free. We can't let that happen. So 10, 15 million, if you get it, because he's not first team, is he? I think you just get whatever you can get for him out the door. I'd also be looking to shift Michael Keane, but then the problem you've got no backup, so you're gonna have to get someone in.
Keane don't want to go,
and there's other players. Well, yeah. So ideally, it would have been great for him to sign another year, and you keep him as a squad player because he is versatile. Play centre half, play right back, play left back.
See, this is where, in my opinion, I wish we still had Conor Cody, because he would, if he was like the backup kind of, the experience and that.
You've got the problem with Godfrey is he's the one you want to keep, but he's only got a year left, so you can't really if he doesn't sign the contract. And
I just don't see Michael Keane stay. Wait, why? If you're Michael Keane, he's 31. Why would you stay?
Yeah, it was the other two that I'd be want to look at. Holgate and Keane. You don't want them sticking around, do you? Especially Holgate.
Well, it's because they're not going to be considered. So they're on big wages. You need those players out the door. So it's not they haven't got something to offer, but I think we're too far down the line with this. With that, you know what I mean? And again, this shows you right now, it's a mad job, Everton. Because we're sitting here talking about Ben Godfrey leaving. We're trying to scrap and keep hold of Jarrad Branthwaite. I think Jarrad wants to stay for another year. I don't think he's desperate to get out at all. So that's him. So we're talking about Godfrey. And we're saying our backup centre-back, Michael Keane, should really be looking for somewhere else. And he should for himself if he wants to play. What's the point of sitting on Everton's bench for another year? And Mason Holgate, who we've tried to sell anyway last summer and tried to get rid of in January for him and his own sake. We're talking potentially 3 centre-backs going out the door. If we can keep Jarrad, then we're talking about 2 needing to come in. Unless they think Reece Welsh is, and I don't think they do, is a viable choice right now. I think Reece needs a loan where he plays a full season. I think Eli Campbell had very good reviews, but he was at Fleetwood, picked up a few injuries, but I know that they really like him, but I think he needs another year.
Needs a championship
loan. Now can you get in? So Everton got those 3 out and got Jacob Greaves in, they still probably need another one. So you're talking 2 centre-backs. Now, I know they're looking at Fries and O'Brien. Jake O'Brien was linked as well from Lyon. And I don't know. It just shows you that Everton are in a situation where they're going to need probably 9 or 10 players in this summer overall for the squad. And that's unrealistic in one aspect. Unless you can go and get 3 or 4 Fries. And that's what they need to do. But they need this money in for Godfrey then, if he's going. Ideally, I want to Ben Godfrey to stay because I think he covers 2 or 3 positions really well. But I understand if he wants to move on for himself, he wants to be guaranteed 13 football at that age. No issue with it.
Yeah, and you look at the wages he's on compared to Michael Keane. It's a shame that he's only got 1 year left because he doesn't sign it, you have to sell him because you can't let him go for free. You look at Michael Keane, the wages he's on, he's not playing. You want to get him out the door, and that might free up wages to get 2 or 3 in, depending on what they get. But the problem when you got a player who doesn't play, and he's that age, and he's on as much wage as he is, they're really, really, really hard to get rid of. Some players are happy to just sit and not play and earn that money. So that was Shank Tosun. But Michael Keane, I imagine he'd prefer to play. And
I think Keane wants to play.
He'd be willing to take a wage drop for that, but who would take him?
No, Michael Keane's a decent centre back. He is.
No, I know that.
So someone would take him. He's just been here. His time at Everton's come to an end.
They're not going to offer him anything near what he's earning right now.
No, but he's been earning decent money for a good few years. He's not going to be on buttons, is he?
No.
You know, you'd go to whatever they offer. If a Premier League football club come in for Michael Keane, he'd be on decent money. He wouldn't be on probably what he's on right now. But then,
see him going to Leicester.
Depends who gets the Leicester job.
Sean Dyche.
Yeah, but Sean Dyche doesn't play him now. So why would he play him at Leicester? So, no. David Harrison says, hopefully we can hold on to Branthwaite for at least another season. Hopefully Onana and maybe Godfrey sold before June 30th. Yeah, I mean, you know, it depends how much the it's going to be, doesn't it? Depends how much Everton need to sell. Like, what do they need to raise by then? See, Onana, ideally, you'd sell him after the Euros. You'd want him to have a brilliant Euros and sell him after it to bounce his value up.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We also don't know how much of that fee we would be able to spend as well. So you want to generate as most as you can without losing your best players, don't you? Because you sell too many, then you end up taking a couple of steps backwards. You sell one or two, you get enough money to improve in other areas and replace those areas, then you'll do okay. We end up selling Onana, Branthwaite, Pickford and Dom. There's no way we're going to be able to replace all of them and improve in other areas enough so that we're a better team. You need to keep hold of some of the players you've got still. Hopefully Branthwaite's one of them. Because for me, if we lose Dom, we're going to be, you know, unless we get the transfers perfect, we might end up struggling even more in the goal scoring department. So the last thing you want to do is weaken in your defence department, because that's the strongest part of the pitch, isn't it? You know, we win so many games this season, or as many games as we did, because we kept clean sheets. Look how many 1-0 wins we had. Most of our wins were 1-0 wins. You take away those clean sheets and those turn into 1-1s. How many points have you just lost there? So we've got to make sure that back four is as strong as it is, because there's no guarantee that we're going to be scoring as many, if not more, goals next season.
We've got to score a lot more goals next season, Ned. We were embarrassing.
Then it's a tough task. Then,
we were embarrassing. You can't average one goal a game. You just can't. It's terrible.
You can't rely on it.
It's shocking.
Can't rely on it.
It's shocking.
But we might end up losing Dom at this rate.
Then we just get another striker. Dom's not Romelu Lukaku, is he?
Yeah, we spent 30 million on Betto though. And
so what?
For me, it's not the striker. It's the other areas need to improve into. I don't think any strikers getting double figures.
I think you're massively underplaying what strikers can do, mate. I do, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
With our team,
last year,
they don't create a lot though.
They don't create a lot, but there's enough chance. Well, mind you, Sean Dyche would argue with you there, with the XG and the shots we have. You'd argue with you. But I agree with you, by the way. The wingers, both wingers, are not good enough in terms of goal scoring, either of them. So Everton need a fast left winger and a right winger that scores goals, and then the other two, really, for me, should just be squad players.
Yeah.
Because they don't. Dwight McNeil doesn't score enough goals. No. I said when he got 7, everyone, oh no, that's it now. Wasn't it at all? He doesn't score goals. You can't create goals from nowhere when your career tells you that you average 2 or 3 goals a season. I hope that he would, and I hope next season he does. But you have to go on an average of his goals across his career. That one season, when Dyche first came in, was his best season he's ever had, scoring goals. Last season he was back to, 3 goals or something he ended up with. Not good enough. Like that, yeah. Jack Harrison normally averages 8 goals a season, he got 3. That's not good enough. You know, we had Lewis Dobbin got 1. It's not good enough. Dan Juma got, if you're talking Premier League, Dan Juma got 1. Not good enough. You know, and that's the challenge you've got. And then when you're You're right in a way. We don't create quality chances for the strikers, but they have to do more. Dom had 4-5 months without a goal. If he'd have just been average in that time, Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have got double figures last season for us.
Yeah, he ended up with 7.
He ended up with 7. He should have ended up with 11 or 12, and that would have just been.
There's a handful, almost a handful of quality chances which I think he could. You look at the Villa one. I think he has to do better there. I think naive to go so narrow with your
The goalkeeper's laying down. He didn't lift it.
Yeah, and then there was like the one against Newcastle, but it's like a reactive thing, isn't it?
You know,
to hit it too
there's
quick,
loads of games that he should have done better. And I love Dom. Don't get me wrong, and he had his performances when he's on it are brilliant.
But if you lose him, it's who you go and get. I think there's a lack of strikers that we can afford. I'd be going. He'd be the one I'd be going.
Strikers in Europe, Ned, and even if you end up paying 20 million on a bit of a 21-year-old gamble, you go and do it because it's down payments of 3 and 4 million over a 5-year period, 4-year period. That's what you have to do. Strikers at the end of the day are the ones, your match winners. And they're the ones that make the difference. Yes, defensively we were excellent, but we can't rely on being that good again next season defensively. We can't. You've got to be able to score goals. It takes the pressure off your defence. And then if you are good defensively, then you start flying up the league. You fly up that league. If you're relying on never conceding, but you're missing chances.
Yeah.
The best you'd ever really do is a draw, isn't it?
Yeah, mid-table.
So. Mid-table, we don't say mid-table next season.
Well, if you look at the facts last season, we don't keep a clean sheet at home, we don't win.
We've done it for a while.
Yeah.
I think since the Crystal Palace game,
3-2.
when we were 2-0 down, Everton haven't won a game at Goodison when the opposition have scored, which is terrifying.
Yeah, and it's not as if we keep
2 seasons,
every game.
2 full seasons.
Yeah.
Happy 50th birthday to Stuart Slater. Not the former West Ham striker, I don't think. But happy birthday, Stuart. Have a tremendous one. And also, there's no club call tonight. This is why this is live on YouTube today at 1. So, yeah, Ben Godfrey has rejected a new deal at Everton Football Club. So, it is time to move him on now, I think. I don't think there's any... we can't let another one walk out the door, like you said. So, it's up to Kevin Thelwell now to get him sold as quickly as he can. Liam says, if selling Godfrey solves our PSR, then happy days. Jake says, how long do we give Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Ben? Well, Ben Godfrey's not signing a new one, so how long do we give Dom now to make a decision on signing a new one?
I mean, if you could shift him before July, then that would be great, but I imagine he wants a bit of money and they want him to sign for a bit less. And you've got to decide, is paying him what he wants less of a risk than letting him go and getting money for him and try and sign someone else? Can you get someone anywhere near as good as Dom? I'm not sure. I really like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If you can get Adebayo, like I say, he's one I mentioned, for a good deal, then you try and get money you can for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but there's got to be interest, isn't there? And if they're thinking there's not a lot of interest, they'll obviously know better than me. If they're thinking there's not a lot of interest and they don't reckon they can get anything for him, then you may as well pay the little bit of extra money to keep holding him rather than let him go for a free next year. But I'd be looking to try and sell him as soon as possible and get the money that you can get for him, and getting a striker early so they can bet in over pre-season. And then they'd be ready to go when we start the season.
I think you need to force them out now. That's the way it is. And like I say, I've got nothing against Ben Godfrey. If he's making a decision for his career, which I'm sure he is, he'll feel like he's deserved a chance. He's got his head down, he's worked hard, he's give everything when he's played. I don't think he's ever played and not give everything when he's played. He's not one of those type of players. Player. So... yeah, no problem with that. Same with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. If Dom doesn't want to, if he wants to try something different now, good luck to him. We'll tell us you're not signing and get him sold. That's the way I'd look at it.
You get him sold before July. Don't forget, he only cost 1.4 million, Dom, didn't he? So you sell him for 20 million, pure profit.
Steve says if Belgium won the cup, how much more value do you think that'd add to Onana's price? And if it was an England-Belgium final, who would you want to win? England. I want England to win it anyway. I'm not one of these. I really don't understand people who don't want England to win. I'm not saying you should all be. If England didn't win it, everyone should feel like you do when Everton get beat. I'm not saying far from it. And if England don't win, if England get knocked out, 20 minutes later, I'll probably be more concerned about who's making me a brew or whatever than I will about England being out. But I want England to win it. I'll never, ever get people who desperate for England not to do well. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I'm English. This is my country. England is my nation. This is what I sort of have a conflict with Ped sometimes over this. And I think even Ped, to be fair, wouldn't mind England. When I'm saying he wants England, he wouldn't mind England. But the thing where you laud other countries for being proud of their country, but yet you have a go at people who are proud to be English. I don't understand that either. I'm not saying I'm getting an England bulldog tattoo and all that bollocks on me, and people do that if you want to, I don't know. But for me, I wouldn't do that. But I'm not ashamed to be English, far from it. I'm ashamed when divvies go away and watch England and you know, they have three bevies and start throwing white chairs. They always look for white chairs to throw. Have you noticed that? Yeah. They always look for them plastic white chairs to throw, as if that makes them hard. I'm ashamed of that, because you should just be able to go and watch a game of footy without causing any hassle. You're in a knobhead if you go to footy and start fighting, as far as I'm concerned, and causing trouble. But I want England football team to win it. Why wouldn't I? But it would never, ever be on the same level as Everton Football Club winning things, even winning games, if I'm honest. England win, I'll be happy for them. When Everton win, I'm buzzing for days.
I'd rather Everton win a penalty, to be honest. But
well, that's up to you. I'm not telling you how to thingy, but
I just love Everton.
Me personally, I hope England win it. And that's just my point of view. That's how I see it. So I definitely want England to beat Belgium in a final, 100%. Jake says, who would you start next to Rice in midfield at the Euros? Manu's had a really good season, as has Wharton. I honestly think Branthwaite and Wharton would have played. If they would have played, there'd have been such a good balance. I wouldn't be playing Wharton. He's had 4 good months. No, looks a good player, but he's too early, in my opinion. Especially if it's too early for Branthwaite, it's too early for Wharton. Manu, I would have with Rice probably in Bellingham. The only issue, potentially I would have Declan Rice, Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham as a 3. But if he thinks that's a little bit too open, then Kobe Manu would come into the thinking, because I think the quicker England put 3 lads in the middle of the park who are comfortable on the ball and are able to keep possession, the better chance they'd have of winning. And I think now there's a nice little blend in there. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold, if he can get the role tied down, could do. He's a very, very good footballer in there. But I do like Kobe Manu, I must admit. I do like him in there.
Yeah, I like him.
So, yeah. Not saying Adam Wharton won't develop into that. I just think... I think it's... For me, personally, I think it's too early for him. But that's not to say he couldn't perform if he was in there.
So your
Done
thing
well
with,
when he come on.
Your thing with Foden, Bellingham and Rice is, because they're all, you know, some of the best 3 players in England, well, who are English, best probably, like, in terms of quality, they're probably the best midfield 3 you can pick. I think if he plays a Wharton in there or a Trent in there and it doesn't go well, he's under scrutiny. But if he plays them, he's probably picking the best 3 he can pick. Yeah, it might be weak because it's a slightly attacking midfield 3. But Declan Rice can play as a 6 and he can hold. He's done it at West Ham. He might be better in the 8, but if he's the best option in the 6, then fair enough. Bellingham can play a deeper role. You don't necessarily want him to because he's so good going forward, but he can play as, you know, as like an actual midfielder. And Foden obviously is really creative from midfield. You play Trent in there because he's a creative player. First of all, you're not getting the delivery you get from Trent anyway, which makes him a great player from the right wing unless he drifts out wide. And he's not Trent Alexander-Arnold, as a right back in centre midfield, is he? He's going to get found out more in midfield than he does it at right back. And you might be taking out a Foden or a Bellingham playing in midfield, who is probably their best positions. You want Foden central, you want Bellingham central. You play Trent there instead, or a Wharton or a Mainu, and Rice becomes an 8 or whoever else, and you take one of them out and put them out wide, you might be taking out England's best chance of winning games through Foden or Bellingham in midfield.
Peter Bradshaw says, hello from Cairns, Australia. Not much happening, guys. Need some good news. It's quiet everywhere, mate, at the moment, isn't it? But hello, Peter, and thanks for joining us from Australia. Jake, there's no update on Kevin Campbell at the moment. Hopefully he's still fighting and recovering. Steve P says, Ned, when you do that cover, make sure you nail the part at the end. When it goes quiet and you think the song's over, then it gets higher. You know what I'm talking about.
I will.
Juan says, hello, studio and chat. Hello, chat. Steve Kelly says, all right, lads, hope you're both well. I'd be looking to sell Godfrey for anywhere between 8 and 10 million. The only issue is we're probably looking to try and get rid of Keane as well. Can we afford to lose these squad players if we can't replace them? There's other areas, need fixing as well. Well, wouldn't we replace them, Steve, with other players? It is a tricky one, like I've just said. There's a lot to do this summer. They need to be doing it now. Hopefully they are with a few free transfers, but I don't know. Graham says, all right, lads, what do you think about Rio Ferdinand and his reason why Southgate didn't take Branthwaite the Euros due to Everton playing a low block? Yeah, Rio's,
he knows
absolute
nothing.
Nonsense. He's talking nonsense there.
Hasn't watched him.
He's talking nonsense.
Hasn't seen how comfortable he has, and even carrying the ball into midfield, Branthwaite, and his distribution, he looks like he plays with so much experience and calm.
Yeah. And yet, if he'd have gone, Ferdinand would have been talking him up to be in this world-class centre-back. Take no notice.
Ferdinand's opinions are crazy.
Graham says, do you worry if Pickford has a good Euros? He could be at the risk of being sold. I don't know.
I don't think he wants to go.
I think he's quite happy. Who's going to come in for him? That's what you got to look
the
at.
only one I can really see, maybe Chelsea, but
I don't know.
They can't really go and spend players on players that aren't necessary for them at the moment, can they? So
James says, if we get a bid for Holgate for 5 million and he wants the difference in his contract paying up, that's 5 million. Would you accept it just to get him off the books? No.
How much did he cost? Not much, did he, from Barnsley?
Like 3 million, wasn't it? Or...
I'd want around 8. I'd be more like 8, 10 million. Godfrey, I'd want a bit more than Holgate, because he cost 20 million, and I think he's still a better player than Holgate, a bit younger, and he's got a bit more about him than Holgate.
No, there's no point getting him off the books for no money, is there? Mm-hmm. Really, you may as well use him. If you can't get rid of him, you may as well use him. What's he got left on his deal? 2 years left, has he, Holgate? So if he's not, say he was on 75 grand a week, I don't know what he's on, but say he was on 75,000 a week, that's what, 3.5 million, so another 7 million quid, say. So you're looking at, you need 10 million really, don't you?
Yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because
if you're having to pay to get rid of him, what is the point?
Yeah.
So you'd need 10 million to get him off. Just giving him away for free, so that you're taking that money off, 75 grand a week off your books. No, because he's a squad player.
We are short.
It's a tricky one. It is. I get it. I sort of get it. You're saving on one end, but he can play right back and he can play centre back.
It's the value. You got to assess, isn't it? What's the value of him staying for a year and leaving for nothing? But you've got that. You don't have to go and buy someone to be a squad player. You know, it's a short-term option. It might cost you a bit of money, but ultimately we signed the contract with him. So
Stephen Lamb says, do you think United will try and give us 2 players plus cash for Jarrad Branthwaite?
I'd never swap.
You can't. I don't think we can, Steve. We need the position we're in. We need the money.
I wouldn't take players from Man United anyway.
Scott McTominay.
No.
Keep walks into our team, to be honest.
I think he does, but...
Sean says Branthwaite wants to stay. We'll see, won't we? Sensi says he'll be gone in January. Let's keep it real. He's gone for 72 million. Well, let's see if someone pays 72 then.
Who? Branthwaite?
Branthwaite, yeah.
January?
KC said, no, Everton won't sell in January. If Maguire was worth 80 million 4 or 5 years ago, then Branthwaite is worth 600 million. Pro Dreamer says, I'd say minimum 20 million for Godfrey just for his versatility alone.
The thing with Maguire is, they probably valued him at like 50 million. And Man United went in, so Leicester just went 80 million because it was United, and they probably went, yeah, go on. So maybe they massively overpaid for Maguire.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use Maguire as a a precedent.
Yeah, but I think people are saying he went for 80 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
I
about
get what they're saying.
Fofana went for 72 million. And I like Fofana. Me and the Piff done a players who Everton should sign when he was playing in France before Arsenal.
He was at Saint Etienne, was he? Yeah.
And he was, we done it ages ago, and he's a good player, but 72 million. So Branthwaite, why not? Michael James says Godfrey should never have been an attacking fullback. He is a defensive fullback like Tony Hibbert. He doesn't work. No, he doesn't work. But when was he an attacking fullback? I think he's just been a fullback, hasn't he? Ben says John Joe Kenny's career stalled with us. He left for Hertha to revive it and has been successful.
At that level, I don't think he was good enough to stay with us. To be honest, I think that letting him leave was the right decision. I think giving players like him contracts is what's put us in a bit of trouble. Don't necessarily deserve it.
So Michael, our left back is attacking. Well, who? Do we need a new left back then? Because Michalenko's not an attacking fullback in any universe. I get what you're saying. You can have one defensive and one attacking. Which one is it? Because neither of our fullbacks attack. So Satoshi Corner says, I think Coleman's days are numbered. He got roasted a couple of times last night versus Lau. Well, Juff against Rafael Lau, he was very, very good. Seamus knows that he's there, and he's there really as a backup, isn't he? He knows that.
He was higher at the pitch as well. I think the thing with Coleman as a defender, you watch him in a back four and he'll back off, give a winger a bit of space, a bit harder to beat. But when he's wing back and he's got 3 centre backs covering him, he'll commit to a challenge. But he kept doing that last night, and Rafael just knocked it past him and just kept sprinting.
But he is.
And Cancelo did the same as well, because Cancelo's really quick.
Lau has left many good full-backs for dead, so
brilliant.
Derek says, I'd imagine there are better centre-backs than Keane and Holgate available for free. There is. It's a big world. It's a big, big world out there. Emma says, surely we can generate enough money from selling Onana and maybe one more to satisfy PSR and keep Branthwaite. Yeah, but we just got to get the money, haven't we? That's the thing. It's all about year to year. So Everton, on the 1st of July, can start spending money because they've got then till June 30th to correct it, haven't they? And obviously when you sell, this is why when people say we can't afford this and we can't afford that, we can afford players. We have to just make sure we're balancing it. If we sell Onana and we sell a couple of others, Everton could create a decent kitty to buy players with. Don't forget, you can go and buy a £50 million player if you can agree to just pay £10 million a summer for him. That's what I'm not saying Everton should do that. I'm just saying you can. Everton could create £30 million to spend and buy £5 million players this summer, as in £5 million for the next 5 years, 6 years. That's what it's about.
I think the realism is they're gonna be exploring frees and loans. They've got to create. What they're trying to do is create the transfer budget for Sean Dyche. That's what they're trying, and for Kevin Phillips, what they're trying to do. It's as simple as that. And there'll be plenty of players there.
There's loads.
And there's plenty of clubs that are trying to sell players as well. So we need the money.
Wormy Spoons is, why do we sell Godfrey but Coleman and Younger? Godfrey's rejected a new contract. Everton tried to keep him. He doesn't want to stay. So there you go. Graham says Dom would be a loss, but he's not irreplaceable. He doesn't exactly ping them in, does he? Can't remember him scoring from outside the box. Sean says if all we sign is free transfers and loans, we'll be fighting relegation again. Well, that's why they need to create some money, don't they? Steve Lamb says Keane back to Burnley.
I can't see that.
No, me neither. No Man Scouser says never mind. Betto is not very good. I'm paraphrasing. Not a £30 million striker. Don't know. Graham says we needed the core that actually likes the ball. That and 2 fast wide guys. Could play Ned up front then and we'd be fine.
You could. I'm not a natural out and out striker, but you never know.
Maupai coming back. Yeah, Everton, it's another one, isn't he? Everton should be looking to get rid of him this summer, no matter what.
He's had a good season for Brentford, so surely there must be some.
Even if someone takes him at 3 or 4 million, just take him. The Blues says spot on, Baz. Anyone expecting McNeil to regularly score that many will be disappointed. But still maintain he's a wing back. Yeah, I think that his left foot's lovely. I think if he played at wing back and played between the 2 boxes, he'd be fine, he'd be sound.
I even think if we had a left back, and this is not me digging McNeil out, by the way. If you have a left back who constantly goes past him, creates a little bit of space for him because he's not got that yard of pace to create space for himself. You've got a left back who gets high at the pitch and operates with him a bit better, then you might have a better chance of creating or getting him behind or whatever. But the best thing about McNeil is when he drops into that little space in midfield and has a pop at goal.
Yeah.
That's his best.
That only player really that can shoot from 30 yards, isn't he?
And
Let's be honest.
He's got close a couple of times this season. And
he scored a good goal against Forest.
A couple of them have gone in, yeah.
I mean, you'd have him. I've said it before, is there a case for him playing as a number 10? Or is there a case for him playing as a second number 8 in a midfield 3?
Number 10, yeah. I think it depends on the players around him, for me.
You'd have to have pace.
You'd have to have pace, yeah. Absolutely.
Benny says can see Betto kicking on next season. To confidence player. Need an alternative attacking midfielder to the core, though, that can chip in with goals.
Yeah, I don't think he works well with next to the core or another striker. It depends who's next to him. But he needs a run of games, doesn't he? Whether Everton or Deitch will trust him enough to play him in a run of games and have no one else there, I don't know. But
Emma says, what are the chances Deitch will actually play Harrison on the left, where he's better, and then get a pacey right winger in, and then play Dwight in the Duke's role? It's a good option. It's a good option.
Yeah. If they can get Harrison loan again, I don't think they'll go out the way to get Harrison on a permanent or anything.
No, they're trying to get him
to put him on the left when they've got a left winger. I think they'd rather just go and get someone who can play on the right midfield because they won't be playing McNeil on the right. But I imagine they'll just get him on loan and play him on the right wing again.
David Harrison says we need pace. Absolutely, we do. M says give Dom 2 more weeks to make up his mind, then put him on it. Yeah. Wormy says if we're smart, we'll sell Dom while the going is good and people are saying he's good.
Yeah, I'd be asking around for interest now while he's stalling. And if he doesn't sign, then, say, well, listen, there's some clubs there for you, lad, and they've offered 15, 20 million, so off your pop. Thank you very much. See you later.
Yeah.
Take your manscape with you.
I want Dom to stay.
I want Dom to stay.
But
I don't think we'll get better for cheap.
Benny says agree totally on players running out of contract, sign a new one at the club or transfer list. Very simple. Go forward with players that want to commit. I think for Godfrey, I just think he probably just wants to. Play. So,
yeah, he's at that age now that he can still do something with his career, and he's got, like I said before, the fundamentals of a decent centre half. He's got pace, so someone would be interested, I can imagine.
Michael said Everton to win the FA Cup or England to win the Euro. Well, Everton to win the FA Cup, but I still don't actively want England not to win.
Yeah,
and I don't understand anybody that does. Steve says Ped wants Italy to beat England. Yeah, I'm not massively convinced on that. What he says and what he... Yeah. Let's leave it there.
He wore an Italian top, didn't he? And then celebrated when they won. I think he's a bit Italian.
That's like... I think I've my DNA done. I've got more Italian than Ped. I think I've got 4% Italian. He had 1.
Think I've got any Italian?
No. Oh. Everton always above England. However, barely even for a choice. So I'd support England. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying people should want England to win over Everton. I literally said myself, given the choice, it'd be Everton every single time. But what I'm saying is, I don't get people who actively want England to lose. I just don't understand it. But fair play. Steve P, yeah, I agree with you, Steve. It does make me laugh when people say, can Rice play as a number 6 though? Literally the only reason Arsenal bought him. It was the only reason Arsenal bought him, because he's unbelievable as a number 6.
I think he's played most of his games as a 6 for England anyway.
He's a good player. When people go, look at what he's done at Arsenal, he's in a much better team at Arsenal than he was at West Ham. So he has to do less recovery work like he did for West Ham, but he's a very, very good footballer. So, we could do with a stadium sponsor before the end of June, says Pro Dream. But they've got to get the ownership sorted, haven't they, really? Steve Guy says, I'd take the points for breaching again if it meant keeping Branthwaite, or don't sell him, meet a stupid deadline. Maybe, mate. I'd have no idea. I don't even know if that's a choice that Everton could make. We'll just agree to break it again, because what if they doubled it because we've already been done for it? Do you know what I mean? I'd have no idea. Derek says, hi lads, if we can get rid of Holgate, Keane and Godfrey, I'd like us to, if possible, after the sale of Onana, bring in Jacob Greaves and Jake O'Brien. Both have huge potential. Hope after Harrison we don't use our last domestic loan on... Who's Calvin Wilson? Do you mean Calvin Phillips? As we need more attacker-minded midfielders. I don't know if they think Calvin Phillips will help the way they play and he'll replace Onana on loan, then I've got no problem with it. They're not going to find a creative midfield player who we can get on loan domestically, are we? Because there won't be any. Unless, you might get a winger from City or something, but who's a potential, but...
I don't think Calvin Phillips will happen.
Steve Kelly said, just had a quick look at backup centre-backs on freeze, and the only one I can see but it'd be scraping the barrel and small wages would be Jaffet Tanganga from Spurs.
He's one as well who can play. He's a bit like Godfrey, and he's versatile. He can play right back, play left back. Interesting. He
would very much be back up though. He wouldn't be.
I don't think it would be the worst signing in the world.
Jonathan Ricketts says Greaves or O'Brien plus Dyer on a free. Isn't Dyer staying at Bayern?
I like Greaves. I think he's a decent player. I know Hull, new ownership and stuff, they're doing pretty well and they might want to keep hold of him, but so they might want a bit of money for him if they let him go, but no, I do like him.
Phil says Everton generated over £80 million in player sales after June the 30th last season with Keane, Iwobi, Sims, Cannon and Kunku. I think the Moyes Keane money went ages ago.
They counted for it years ago and spent it.
Wormy Spoon says you can't have wingers who had no goals or assists and a striker that falls over himself for 28 million. Someone step in and sack our whole recruitment division before they make more blunders. She says thoughts on Stefan Borson saying Everton owe 100 million still on the stadium. He just says whatever he wants, mate, and no one ever checks him on it. Apparently it was down to 40 or even less than that was what was owed, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's 100 million. I think he's chatting utter nonsense there.
If anybody does know, it won't be him. So.
Teddy says, "Hi boys, would you both be back in Thelwell in the transfer market this summer? And would you be happy with him staying when we get taken over, or looking at getting the best director of footballing?"
Personally, I'd be looking to get better, but you know, he's in charge this summer of the signings, so you've got to back him and hope that he does well, and then shake his hand when new owners come in. I'd be looking to get a better director of football personally. I don't think he's done enough in the game to warrant a move to Everton with time in America and at Wolves, and I don't think he's done enough for Everton to warrant the trust of a new owner. Personally, seems like a nice guy, but I'd be looking to get better, in my opinion. Man United went and got one of the best reputable directors of football in the league, so I think we should be aiming to get at least someone who's good enough for Everton. I'm not the biggest fan of Thelwell personally, but he's in charge this summer, so you've got to back him. Hopefully he makes some decent signings.
Not exactly being easy job that he's coming to, though.
Oh, of course not. Of course, with the money you've got to work with as well. Of course not, but I think some of the money he has spent, when there was other options out there, maybe he could have took a couple of more risks on players. Maybe they might have paid off. Maybe they might have gone wrong. But signing players like Mope, Betto for me.
McAtee, a couple of people are mentioning on loan from City, done well at Sheffield United last season, didn't he? Definitely. Derek says Tim Weah would be a great signing. Juve don't want him. Whammy Spoon says Barry is our ambition as a club to stay up. And as they were atrocious teams, we were one of them. Not getting relegated is nothing to get excited. I don't know who's getting excited. I don't know who he's done. Oh, okay. Thought he was talking to me. He wasn't talking in the comments. No, that shouldn't be Everton's ambition, should it? Trying to stay up. It's absolutely terrible. Terrible. He should be looking to kick on this season, regardless. Danny says we'll only lose 4 points with the Forest case, the way the Forest case went. Yeah, but if we've already been done, I wouldn't be banking on anything with the Premier League.
I don't think we should be having any points deducted, but
James says any money that comes in now till August ain't going back on players until then, and until a new owner gets the outgoings down. Bainey says, afternoon boys, fingers crossed we're taking a stand and not being able to ransom yet again with any outgoings. We still have a future to take care of. Jarrad is hopefully part of that. Just open any decisions with the sale of the club. I'm sure he has done for the best of the club and fans. His track record on decisions isn't exactly great. We need stability and the foundation to build on. I think we deserve some positivity after a few years, definitely. Steve Kelly can't wait to find some of them white shirts tomorrow when he heads off to Germany for the Euros.
It's right, Steve.
Sarah says, I'd absolutely love to keep Branthwaite. Even better, giving United a two-fingered salute for trying to steal him anyway. Agree with you. Off you pop, dickheads. It's it, isn't it? You can't turn around and go, we don't like your valuation, we want them cheaper.
Yeah.
We don't get players cheaper from other clubs. So Sarah also says, I think Godfrey will be a loss for us. He's fast, made some quality defensive recoveries. Not great in the air, but think that could have been worked on. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? What can you do? It's, if he doesn't want to stay for his own career, there's not really much we can do. And son of a goat boy says Chimiti's improvement from his first appearance to his last run out was impressive. He looked like Danny Cadamati at first, but showed some good touches and a bit of cleverness in the last couple. Doesn't happen that often, but the recruitment department seems to have got a transfer right. Let's hold fire on it. He looks, potential. Looks like he's got good potential. Let's hopefully see it develop.
Yeah, I think he needs a loan, doesn't he? He probably needed a loan last season. He needs to be playing games, and that's what's best for his development. And unfortunately, Everton haven't been in the place in the past year or two where we can put play developments before the first team. like a Lewis Dobbin, he should have been out on loan as well.
Everton can't allow Chimity to go out on loan.
Yeah, obviously, that's what I'm saying. You need him in the squad. For him, he needs a loan. He's been playing games. But like I said, we're short of numbers, aren't we? So he's got to play. But the good thing is we look like a team still with him up front. He looks okay, but he needs to add goals to his games. But I imagine if he does and he starts getting a couple of goals, gets that confidence, and he can score in the Premier League, then he'll be a decent striker eventually.
Geordie Tune for Life says, afternoon lads, how has Branthwaite missed out on that England squad is beyond me. Dunk, really. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know how he missed out. It's a very, very strange decision by Southgate. But Steve P says, Baz, thoughts on that Douglas Luiz swap deal, McKennie and Illing Jr. plus 20 million. Yeah, Samuel Illing Jr. looks a really good player. Weston McKennie's hit and miss, isn't he? But them two plus 20 million for Douglas Luiz. I think Villa, it'd be a good deal for Villa, I think.
I quite like Douglas Luiz.
No, he is a good player, but he's going to go, isn't he? But he got him from Man City. That's saying why. Why can't you go on
I thought with Partey leaving Arsenal that I could have saw Douglas Luiz.
I think they might have wanted him to, but we'll see. Chelsea are in talks with John Duran, so they definitely ain't signing Dom. We done that yesterday on More Than a Game, didn't we? They'd turned around and said they weren't going after him. So Newcastle seems to be, if he's going to go anywhere, that's where he'll end up, but I don't know.
Listen, if there's not enough interest for Dom, and Dom can't find somewhere willing to pay what he wants, maybe he'll have to accept that offer that Everton have gave him, because that's the best offer he's got.
He might, or he might just get off.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, McAtee on loan, being interesting one. Right, we're done. Hit the like button, subscribe. We are going straight over to More Than a Game, 2 o'clock. You don't have to do anything. Stay where you're at. Come and join us for more footy chat there. Why wouldn't you? And go and subscribe as well while you're there. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see you in about 4 minutes, I think it'll be. So see you in a minute.